The Key to Yourself by Dr. Venice J. Bloodworth. Prologue. Since the dawn of human existence and through all the succeeding ages, mankind has recognized the mighty invisible force that governs and controls the universe, and has tried to understand and use this power. In ancient China, in mysterious India, and beneath the shadow of the Sphinx, the seers and prophets sought to lift the veil that shrouds the mysteries of life, and each race has made its quest for the Holy Grail. In every country on the globe, we have found and are still finding the impress of each stage of bygone civilization, while history is a glorious record of man's upward climb toward truth and freedom. The early savage, awed by the phenomena of the sun, moon, and stars, the mystery of life and death, found satisfaction by creating a primitive system of deities to whom supernatural powers he attributed those things beyond his own comprehension. And as we trace him down through the ages, we find his ideals gradually changing to fit his improved mentality, until today we stand on the pinnacle of all of those bygone centuries, the intellectual giants of all ages. We have reached the sublime heights in literature and art. Science has revealed infinite resources and undreamed of possibilities. Invention has lightened the burden of harsh manual labor and given us comforts, conveniences, and educational facilities beyond the mental grasp of our ancestors, while the future possibilities of electricity stagger the imagination. Today, more than ever before, we find a tendency to question the meaning of life. By the efforts of the few, we have reached the present stage of civilization, and because men are wiser today, they cannot be satisfied with anything less than the truth. The time for individual development has come. We must discover for ourselves the whys and wherefores of all that baffles us in the marvelous scheme of life and nature. Each of us must find his own place in the cosmic order and realize for himself the true meaning of life. Individually, we must find the key to destiny. Psychology is the answer. The science of mind is the science of life, for in mind all manifestation finds its common origin. All progress, whether individual, national, or racial, has been and will continue to be in the mental realm, and the greatest battle of the future will be one of ideas instead of guns. The majority of people are drifting on the high seas of life. No chart marks their destination. No rudder holds a course. They are at the mercy of the winds of chance, the rocks of doubt, the shoals of ignorance, and, if they make some progress before the curtain falls, it is because they have unconsciously used the creative power. That is the birthright of every individual, and not any exact knowledge. In order that we may avoid aimless drifting with its wasted energy and its painful collisions, we must know something of the mighty principles that govern us and the world in which we live, something of the great occult law of cause and effect, under whose operation our lives can be filled with pain and poverty, or joy and success. In all the universe, there can be no such things as luck or fate. Every action, every thought is governed by law. Behind every bit of good fortune lie the causes that we ourselves have sometime, somewhere, set in motion. Behind an ill fortune, we will find the energy we ourselves have generated. Every cause must have a certain definite effect. There is no dodging the results. We reap what we sow with exact mathematical precision. The writer has studied many religions and philosophies, from those told in the flowery language of the mystics of the East to the crisp, clear scientific findings of modern psychology, and in all we find the same principles, the same immutable laws, ageless, changeless, eternal, moving in silent grandeur, laws that control our thought and from which there is no escape, whether the law be put into operation consciously or unconsciously. It is apparent that a knowledge of these laws and how to bring them into operation for the benefit of ourselves and others is the most practical thing we could acquire, and in the Key to Yourself, I have endeavored to set forth applied psychology in the simplest possible terms so that everyone, regardless of educational advantages, may have an equal chance. The Key to Yourself will take you into a new world of accomplishment, prosperity, friends, and pleasure. It will give you a golden return if you will study it correctly and steadily. The value of psychology cannot be comprehended by mere reading or superficial knowledge. Its true worth can only be ascertained by study, concentration, and practice. And in all fairness to the writer and yourself, you are requested to follow the methods set forth herein faithfully. If you will do this, you will find that psychology will do for you what it has done for others, that it will actually produce the mental, physical, and material results for which you have so long been seeking. Dr. Venice Bloodworth. Chapter 1. Thought and Law. Thinking is the true business of life. Thinkers rule the world. They always have, and they always will. All people think, but the tragedy of life is that so few of us think creatively or constructively, so few recognize the fact that thought is a creative force. Every achievement in business, literature, philosophy, or science has found its source and expression through the mental efforts of the world's leaders. The outstanding figures of tomorrow are the creative and constructive thinkers of today. We live in the same world and are as far apart as the difference in our thought processes. Some fail while others succeed. Some are sick, others are healthy. Some are miserable, others are happy. We all want to blame luck or fate or someone of our fellow men, but the difference is within ourselves. We are the product of our prevailing habits of thought. Each is building his own world from within. Thought is the builder, subtle, vital, irresistible, omnipotent, and, according as we use our thought forces, do they bring us joy or sorrow, peace or pain, success or failure. Men, events, and conditions are relative only. Every experience with which you meet has been built for you by your own interior thought processes. The world without is merely a reflection of what you have acknowledged as true in your world within. So, if the state of your health or finances is not all you desire, you must look within yourself for the cause. Regardless of what the condition is or how it seemed to have come about, its cause had defined place in your consciousness before it came into expression. That a man can change himself, recreate himself, improve himself, control his environment, and master his own destiny is not a theory with the writer, but a matter of positive knowledge. There is no such thing as luck or chance. On the contrary, our lives are governed by law, by actual, immutable principles that never vary. Law is in operation at all times, in all places. Mighty, silent, fixed laws that underline every human action, that bring to us with exact precision the full measure of our thoughts. Laws that favor no individual and are no respecter of persons. In a sense, there's nothing at all in the universe but law. Every tree that grows, every flower that blooms, every snowflake that falls, testifies to the unceasing operation of this great law. We all admit natural laws in regards to the vegetable kingdom. We also accept the fact that the sun, the moon, the stars, and the tides of the sea are controlled by law. But it has not occurred to the majority of us that man is just as subject to law as the vast panorama of nature. It is law that makes the universe so harmoniously exact. If there was not law, we could never be sure the sun would rise or the seasons come in rotation. There is but one law, one principle, one cause, one source of power. We cannot change the law, but by understanding and cooperation, we may bring ourselves, through our thought processes, into harmony with the law and let the law work with us, through us, and for us. It is natural for man to be healthy and whole in mind and body, and for him to abound in all good. When one learns this truth and lives in accord with the laws of his being, health and prosperity spring forth naturally and abundantly. The majority of people believe that peace and plenty on one hand, and poverty and sickness on the other, is somehow interwoven in divine providence. But those who know the truth understand that life, health, and abundance are a natural law of the universe, and thought is the active principle by which we are related to the things we need and desire. Thoughts are things. Thought causes vibration and sets in motion the law of mind. Since everything has its beginning in mind, and as thought, which is mind in action, produces form, we realize that thought is creative. That which we call our subconscious mind, being a point in universal creative law, and being immediately available to us, guarantees that we have at our disposal the use of a law which is not only immediate, beside being inside of us, but it is also in connection with everything else in the universe. It is the belief in separation from God which keeps our good away from us. It is the belief that binds us, and not any actual power. We are really bound by our false beliefs, and we shall never be permanently free until we experience a complete change of thought. This is what is meant by the renewing of the mind. The Key to Yourself by Dr. Venice Bloodworth. Chapter 2. Consciousness, Concentration, and the silence. I should like for my readers to fully realize what consciousness means, for we may know something, and it is still not be a part of our consciousness. To illustrate, when you went to school and your teacher put the first example in long division on the board, she explained it as she worked out the problem and you saw it there. Certainly you knew it could be done. No doubt entered your mind that long division was an accomplished fact, but you couldn't do it yourself until you had worked at it, studied it, concentrated on it for some time. Then suddenly, perhaps it came to you. You understood. You could do long division. That branch of mathematics was then a part of your consciousness. Do you see the difference? It is possible for us to intellectually perceive something without it being a part of our consciousness. So it is with these lessons. Just reading them will not do you any good, nor answer your purpose at all. You must study them, concentrate on them, take them into the silence with you until they become a part of your consciousness. There seems to be an idea that concentration takes a lot of effort, but quite the reverse is true. You know how we lose ourselves in an interesting story until our surroundings are completely obliterated? That is concentration. And we can so train ourselves to meditation that we immerse our minds in our subject to the exclusion of everything else. This power of attention is called the silence, and we should take a few minutes every day to turn our thoughts within, to take stock of ourselves, and to learn the truth. You are not to expect any peculiar manifestation in the silence. It is simply a physical stillness, where we shut out our surroundings and sound, and rest ourselves in mind and body, and learn to control and direct our thoughts into beneficial channels. It would be well to gain control of the body first, so for half an hour or so each day, retire to some place where you will not be disturbed. Seat yourself comfortably, relax every muscle, and be still. Let your thoughts roam over pleasant memories, but resolve to attain perfect control over your body. Do not be anxious, but quietly understand that we have plenty of time for everything, and that we are capable of doing everything we set out to do. Practice makes perfect in all things. You may not succeed the first few times, but persistent efforts cannot fail to give you perfect physical control. When you can do this, you will find a new poise and a new power pervading your entire being. You will gain the first thrill of exultation that comes to those who conquer conditions. The next step is to control your thoughts. Some people find it hard to think steadily on one subject for any length of time. Our thoughts seem to want to jump from one thing to another, but we can select one subject or object and think on it, bringing our thoughts back every time they play truant, until we finally learn to think of anything we wish for 10 minutes or more. Some people find these exercises hard. To some they are easy, but everyone can accomplish what they set out to do by patient effort. It is absolutely necessary that you obtain self-control, both mentally and physically, because efficiency of any kind is contingent upon harmony, and there is no harmony where there exists a lack of control. When you learn self-control, you will be in position to think constructively and harmoniously. It is then You may decree a thing, and it will be established unto you. It is then you will understand with deeper reverence what the Master meant when he said, "Go into thine inner chamber and shut the door. Pray to the Father in secret, and he, hearing in secret, will reward you openly." Thought is the only reality. Conditions are but the outward manifestation of thought. As thought changes, all conditions must change in order to be in harmony with their creator, which is thought. The Key to Yourself by Dr. Venice Bloodworth. Chapter 3. The Conscious Mind. Each individual is endowed with two phases of mind, conscious and subconscious. The conscious mind is that part of our mind with which we perceive, reason, judge, and reject. By its operations, we are aware of our power to think, to know, to will, and to choose. Through the conscious mind, we have conscious communication with every part of our body and respond to every sensation of sight, sound, smell, taste, and feeling. The conscious mind is the supreme ruler in our mental world. It deals with all impressions of the visible world, gathered through the five senses. It carries the responsibility of decisions and is the gateway through which our destiny comes. Through the magic portal of conscious, creative, constructive thought, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding bring their richest gifts and place the scepter of power in your hand, while health, wealth, happiness, and youth trail their glittering robes across the threshold of your consciousness and crystallize their royal attributes into your body and environment. But if the thoughts entertained by the conscious mind are hate, envy, anxiety, weakness, fear, or other negative thoughts, then the magic portal becomes the iron door of despair, through which poverty, disease, and unhappiness drag their ragged garments into your life. It is strange that we so long fail to understand the wonderful power of thought, for it is taught by every religion and philosophy in the history of the world. Paul, when in captivity and chained to a Roman soldier, gave to the world this message. He said, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, and whatsoever things are lovely and of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things." Most of us have overlooked the meaning of that verse. We have been so busy admiring its beauty of diction that we fail to place emphasis on the word think. If everybody followed Paul's injunction and thought only in terms of truth, honesty, justice, purity, and loveliness, this world would be transformed from a planet of confusion, sickness, and poverty into one of radiant health, happiness, and prosperity. The Key to Yourself by Dr. Venice Bloodworth. Chapter 4. The Subconscious Mind. The subconscious mind presides over all the involuntary processes of your body, such as digestion, assimilation, elimination, the beating of your heart, the circulation of your blood, the manufacture of various glandular secretions. It builds, sustains, repairs, and operates the body. Under its direction, new cells are born every minute. So accustomed are we to these operations of the subconscious mind that for a long time science failed to recognize any distinction between our two phases of mind. Finally, however, positive proof of cell renewal directed by a central intelligence presented itself, and it was learned that while the subconscious mind faithfully and tirelessly keeps up its work of building and operating the body, whether we are awake, asleep, or under the influence of an anesthetic, it works under the control of the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is the storehouse of memory, the seat of habit and instinct. It is also the center of emotion, and its action is automatic. The subconscious is that marvelous phase of your mind that brings into existence by the sheer power of thought. It is the spiritual part of us, and through it we are connected with the divine and brought into relation with infinite constructive forces of the universe. The subconscious mind not only possesses the power and the knowledge to build and repair your body, it is part of the universal mind and has infinite resources at its command. Dr. Young tells us that the subconscious mind not only contains all the classified data gathered during all the past life of the individual, but it contains also all the wisdom of all the immeasurable ages past, and that by drawing upon its wisdom and power, the individual may possess the good things of life in great abundance. Dr. Young also makes clear the fact that so long as the individual remains in ignorance of his subconscious power, just so long does it remain a great unused force that can prove dangerous to our welfare. Ignorance of the existence and power of the subconscious mind is the cause of all the failures and near failures in the world. On the other hand, we can draw on the subconscious mind for all the wisdom and power necessary in the management of all our business and personal affairs. In fact, anything we leave absolutely to the subconscious mind to handle, we will see accomplished. The subconscious mind does not think, reason, balance, judge, or reject. It simply accepts all suggestions furnished by the conscious mind, whether they be good or evil, constructive or destructive. Herein lies the mighty power of the conscious mind. The subconscious mind receives any idea or belief as a pattern to work by and proceeds to bring such ideas and beliefs into manifestation. Prior to the development of our conscious reasoning power, the subconscious mind works by a hereditary pattern or race instinct. During childhood, these subconscious activities are the result of heredity and environment demands, and continue to be such unless we are fortunate enough to learn the unlimited power of our subconscious mind, though some people unconsciously draw on this power with most splendid results. Thus we find the secret of good or bad results in child training is due to the fact that whatever training children get leaves its impression on the subconscious mind and makes the habits formed in our tender years the basis for all future actions, unless we consciously and systematically set about to change them. Every thought that enters the conscious mind is subjected to our reasoning power. If we accept an idea or thought as true, it is then carried to the subconscious mind to act on and is brought forth into visible expression as part of our physical condition and immediate surroundings. Thus we find that in its last analysis, The conscious mind decides our fate. So to control our health and environment, we must control our thought. The Key to Yourself by Dr. Venice Bloodworth. Chapter 5. The Universal Mind. The universal mind is the source of common origin from which spring all manifestations. If there is life, there must of necessity be a source of life. If there is love, there must be a source from which love comes. The same is true of wisdom, intelligence, health, happiness, and what we call material things. Charles Haanel tells us in the New Psychology that the universal mind is the substance of all force and form, the reality that underlies all existence. By it, in accord with fixed laws, all things are brought into being and sustained. It is the pure substance of being, is everywhere present, and is essentially the same at all points of its presence. Herbert Spencer, the physical scientist, tells us the same thing when he says, "Amid all the mysteries by which we are surrounded, nothing is more certain than that we are ever in the presence of an infinite and eternal energy from which all things proceed." We are told by the Church on biblical authority that in Him we live and move and have our being. Since the dawn of human existence and through all the succeeding ages, mankind has recognized the mighty invisible force that governs and controls the universe. That power by which and through which all things are created. Some have personalized this power and called it God. But the most beautiful and the most comprehensive idea of this power was given by Jesus when he talked to the woman at the well. God is spirit. He did not say a spirit, nor the spirit, but simply God is spirit, clearly indicating the presence of God at all points at the same time. So we cannot help but realize that the finding of the psychologist, the scientist, and the greatest teacher of all is one and the same. We must simply understand the all-important fact: there is but one principle, one power, one presence, and that this omnipotent, omniscient presence is good. Then we must realize that the subconscious mind of the individual is one in kind and quality with the universal mind, the only difference being one of degree. We are individualized spirit and bear the same relation to the universal mind that the sunbeam does to the sun. Know ye not that ye are the temple of the living God? Here, then, is the secret of the wonderful creative power of thought. Thought is a spiritual activity. The only power which the spirit possesses is the power to think. Spirit is creative, therefore thought is creative. You know that the spirit of you is you, that without the spirit you would be nothing. You also know that your thinking processes are directed by your spiritual power. But you have not considered the importance of this fact, nor recognized its connection with the creative principles of the universal spirit of mind. If you will stop to consider what the real I of you is, you will be astonished to find that it is neither your body nor your conscious mind. On the contrary, you will find that your mind and body are simply instruments used by the I of you to carry out its wishes. The I of you controls and directs both your mind and body and decides what they shall do and how they shall act. The real I of you is eternal and is one with the universal mind. If you take a cup of water from the ocean, the water in the cup is still ocean water. There is just not so much of it, and its power is not so great. Such is our comparison with the universal mind. When you fully realize the true nature of this I, you can never think badly of yourself again. Let your habits, characteristics, temperament be what they will. They compose your personality, are subject to change, and have nothing to do with the real indwelling self. The real I of you is your subconscious mind and has the power to change your physical condition and environment through its connection with the universal mind. Thought is the connecting link between us and the universal mind, and considering this marvelous fact, we arrive at the conclusion that we ourselves are channels through which the universal mind pours itself into expression, and that thoughts are causes and conditions are effects. Thought being the cause, we cannot help realizing that if we control our thoughts, we control effects. Then it follows that our health, happiness, and prosperity are under our control also. When you understand this glorious truth and realize the wondrous possibilities open to you through your connection with omnipotence, you will have found the kingdom of heaven within you. We are so constituted that we fail to comprehend an entirely new idea. The conscious mind must reach understanding through the vibratory action of thought, and it is necessary for us to study with undivided attention anything we desire to learn. Your thought forces will lead you to the realization of your fondest dreams, but make no mistake in thinking these lessons are the royal road to so-called miracles. Psychology is the royal road to undreamed happiness, freedom, and success, but you must pay the price of concentration and study, or this golden key is not for you. All possession is based on consciousness, and you must establish a consciousness through understanding. A transfer of material things can be made, but wisdom must be bought by our own efforts. We have the freedom of choice to express ourselves any way we see fit, and it is our duty to ourselves and our fellow man to express ourselves harmoniously and constructively. Sorrow, sickness, and poverty are quite unnecessary and are the results of ignorance of the truth. If you are manifesting any undesirable condition, change your ideas and viewpoint of life, and a new set of conditions will appear. Spiritual things are spiritually discerned. We can get no understanding from the world of visible things. The things we see have no originating power in themselves. The world without is relative only. Truth is absolute and must be found by each individual within his own soul. Go into the silence every day and concentrate on the fact that you are a spiritual being, a child of God, and co-heir with Christ. Put aside every other thought except a desire for the truth. Ask for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, as Solomon did, and you will find, as he did, that all else follows in their train. The Key to Yourself by Dr. Venice Bloodworth. Chapter 6. ideas, and affirmation. The universal mind is life, love, wisdom, power, health, and abundance in abstract perfection. Man is the instrument through which these attributes are made concrete, and the visible expressions of God's perfect material appears in the form of the individual idea that calls it into being. The finest musician on earth could not do justice to his ability on an instrument that was out of tune. So with us, to get good results, we must be in tune with the infinite mind. To be in tune with the universal mind, we must recognize the fact that mind is reality, and the ideas are the generating energy back of all existence. Original ideas are not the products of the conscious mind, but are furnished us by our subconscious mind and our spiritual. Everything is first an idea. Every stage of human progress, from the first stone hatchet of the caveman to the latest model flying machine of the present day, was first an idea. Everything is first worked out in the unseen ideal realm before it appears in tangible form. The realm of the unseen is the realm of cause. The realm of the seen is the realm of effect. Paul, in the picturesque language of his day, stated this truth when he said, "So that which is seen hath not been made out of things which appear." This is the greatest discovery of all the ages, that ideas stand as cause to all that appears, and that man can control ideas. This truth runs like a golden thread through all the religions and philosophies of the world's history. It has been told in parable, song, and story by the seers and prophets of all ages. The beautiful story of Aladdin and his wonderful lamp was based on the fact that each individual possesses the indwelling power to condition his or her life in exact accord with what they would have it to be. You remember that Aladdin only had to rub the lamp, and a powerful genie appeared, ready to do his bidding. Fortune, fame, power, and the hand of a beautiful princess were his for the asking. While the lamp represents the conscious mind, the rubbing of the lamp means understanding. The genie represents the subconscious mind, that mighty power within yourself waiting for recognition and unfoldment, that, when aroused and used, will bring you to the realization of your fondest dreams. No matter what those dreams may be, their fulfillment lies in the universal mind, ready to come into expression at your demand. When you learn that you have the power to change everything about you, including your body, by changing your thoughts and ideas, you will cease to worry over appearances of any kind, but will calmly set about changing your state of mind by using your imagination to establish a new set of ideas. The best and quickest way to bring about reform in our thinking is by the use of a strong affirmation to be repeated in the silence and any time the need arises. The following: I am healthy, strong, young, powerful, loving, harmonious, successful, and happy, is constructive and may be used with good results. Your present character is made up of countless thoughts, beliefs, habits, entertained and formed by you in the past. This character is expressed on your subconscious mind and is the cause of your present health, your present state of mind, and your present financial status. If you wish to change all or any of them, the affirmation just given will be effective. This is true because any statement continuously made by the conscious mind is accepted by the subconscious mind as a pattern by which to weave your future. Your present conditions are the results of your past thinking. You will be what you are thinking today. Some time ago in a speech, the governor of Pennsylvania said that he had been asked to give his opinion of what conditions would be in the United States 25 years hence. His reply was, "If I knew the predominant national thought of today, I could tell you what 25 years would bring forth." As with nations, so with individuals. Whatever your predominant thoughts are will be expressed in your health and surroundings, which means that your future is entirely under your own control. It does not matter what your present condition may be. It rests with you to change it and make your future exactly what you would have it to be. There is no limit to the creative power of universal mind, and it is no respecter of persons, but moves in ageless, changeless, eternal silence, bringing to you with exact precision the full measure of your thoughts. You may ignore your subconscious, and through this inner self your connection with the universal mind, but it is, and it will continue to be the basis of your existence. The all-pervading intelligence behind the vast panorama of nature, the intelligence that evolves every form of plant and animal life, that is all-wise and all-powerful, is your life. Man is the highest expression of individual life because he thinks. We sometimes blame God for our misfortune, but the fact remains that we are entirely responsible for our success or failure, happiness or misery. Man makes himself, creates his own personality, character, and circumstances. Destiny is fixed by subconscious action. You are not the slave of circumstance, but the creator of your own destiny. We attract to ourselves only that which corresponds to our subconscious impressions, and you can always make a new start and create new conditions by changing your subconscious impressions. If you have thought failure, think success. Replace 6 thoughts with thoughts of health. If there is any reason for unhappiness, resolutely put it out of your mind, for like attracts like, and the more you think of discordant conditions, the more such conditions will manifest for you. Concentrate on what you want. When you do think, you are impressing that desire on your subconscious mind. Never let your thoughts dwell on what you do not want. The Key to Yourself by Dr. Venice Bloodworth, Chapter 7, Sowing the Seed. We have learned so far that thought is creative, that while we may think what we choose, our thoughts are governed by immutable laws, that the universal mind or energy is the basic fact of all existence, that there is but one power or principle pervading the entire universe, and that through our subconscious mind, which is part of the universal mind, we may condition our life in exact accord with what we would have it to be. Now we will find out how we obtain good results through our thinking processes. When you want to raise cabbage in your garden, you plant cabbage seed. If you want beans or corn, you plant these respective seeds, and you are very careful to select seeds of the best quality. You plant these different seeds in the same soil, but you know that the perfection of your harvest depends on the quality of your seed and your careful attention during their growth. You are never in doubt as to the nature of your product because you know that where you planted corn, you will gather corn, and where you planted beans, you will harvest beans. We sow and grow and reap our thoughts in exactly the same way. We reap what we sow in kind and quality with exact precision. The law of compensation will not allow us to sow thoughts of one kind and reap fruits of another. We can be absolutely certain that we will express outwardly the results of our predominant thoughts. Everything and everybody is governed by the same law, and we should not expect to reap riches from poverty thoughts, or happiness from miserable thoughts, health from disease thoughts, or peace from angry thoughts, any more than we would expect to gather tomatoes from gourd vines. We sow our thoughts in our subconscious mind, and the law of growth brings them into visible expression. If our thoughts are positive in faith, desire, courage, determination, cheerfulness, and love, our physical condition and environment will express these qualities in health, happiness, and prosperity. But if our thoughts are fear, hatred, envy, anxiety, grief, or jealousy, we will reap these results in poverty, disease, and misery. Every time you think, you start a chain of causation that will create a condition in strict accord with the quality of thought which originated it. Whether we have success or failure, it comes by the operation of exactly the same principle. The principle is unchangeable. Its operation is exact. We use the same principle and the same substance to bring either good or bad results. It is the seed you sow that decides the nature of your product. Let us use another illustration. Imagine everybody as being a miniature manufacturing plant. Our raw material is the limitless, inexhaustible substance of being. Some of us turn out beautiful homes, automobiles, fine raiment, health, happiness, and everything else our hearts desire. Others work harder, are not so healthy, and gain a mere competence. Still others manufacture for themselves poverty, disease, and crime. Yet we all use the same substance or material. Neither are we restricted as to quality. The supply is always equal to the demand, but we must make the demand and supply the kind and quality of the seed or idea. Thus, if a so-called sinner sows seeds of love and faith, and a so-called saint sows seeds of fear and bigotry, we should not blame God because the sinner harvests peace and plenty and the saint reaps bitterness. The divine mind knows neither denomination nor creed, but works for all men impartially and in justice and love. God's universe is a universe of law and order from its smallest expression to the circuit of the solar system. God is law. Man neither makes nor breaks the law. He works with it or against it as he chooses, and he reaps the pleasant or unpleasant results of his own decision. There is nothing either mysterious or religious about it. It is simply the law. Let us remember that universal mind eternal energy, substance of being, and universal life principle all have the same meaning. However, the terms used will not matter when we understand that they mean God as the divine principle which rules the universe. The word principle comes from the Latin word beginning or fundamental truth.